my thesis, A Tailor's Perspective on the History and Cultural Significance of the Traje Charro. We are in Austin, Texas, so thank you, Alicia, for accepting my invitation for this interview. And I actually want to start a little bit with your history as a mariachi musician. Like, how and when did you start playing mariachi?
Yes, I started playing mariachi in middle school. Actually, I took it as an elective. So I started off in seventh grade and I did it throughout high school, community college, and then professional, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you come from a family of mariachis, or were you the first one?
I'm the first one, yes.
Yeah. What instruments do you play, or do you sing?
So, right, my main instrument is violin, and then I'm studying right now vocal, so I also sing. So I sing and I play violin.
Can you tell me a little bit about the mariachi groups that you've played with? Like maybe your first group and who you play with now?
So my first groups were obviously going back to my middle school. Obviously, I think it was they would call it mariachi Mayan and mariachi griego. That was seventh and eighth grade, and then my high school group was called mariachi azteca, and then I was in a youth group called mariachi juvenil mi Mexico. Then I've been in a lot of groups in between there, but I would say my first big professional group was called Las Colibri, which is they say they're more of a traditional mariachi because they don't have a trumpet. And actually, we wouldn't use the traje de charro for that group. We would use a dress, and it was like a skirt with heels and a shirt. But we had the violins, the vihuela, guitarron, guitar, and then after that, I joined the Mariachi Divas, the Cindy Shea, and I was there for a little bit over 5 years. And now I'm here at Texas State University in that mariachi is called Mariachi Nueva Generación.
Can you talk a little bit about the first traje charro that you ever wore, like where you got it from, and maybe any details you remember about it, like color, style?
The first traje de charro I ever wore was my middle school traje, which was black, and it had really big botonaduras. I think they were Aztec calendars, and we just had the jacket and a skirt.
Yeah. Where do you buy your trajes now, or where do you get them from?
My trajes, I would say for the last, let's see, for the last 15 years, I've been getting them made in Tijuana, Mexico, in Baja California, with a sastre over there. His name is Jose Luis. So I've basically only gotten them from him, and now the one I'm using from the school group, I don't know where they got it, but the school provides it.
How did you hear about Jose Luis?
I heard of him, I think, when I was in Mariachi Juvenil Mi Mexico. I got a traje made with that group, and then I just decided to use him because I really liked how he made my suit. I noticed that some trajes make really good men's suits, and some sastres, sorry, they make really good men's suits, but they don't really do the same quality work on women's figures. And this was the first sastre that I really liked how he tailored a suit for a woman's body.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite traje right now?
I would say my favorite traje is it's just my standard black suit.
Yeah.
Just because I use it all the time. I like how it looks on me.
Do you have trajes in different colors?
Yes, I have trajes in different colors. So obviously my standard black suit. I also have one that is kind of like that color. I don't know what you would call that color. Like a little bit off white, like an egg color. When I was working in Los Angeles, it was standard that it was standard that people would have both those suits. So sometimes you would do certain events when they would ask for a white suit, you would have it. Here, moving here to Texas, not so much. But I also have trajes that I used with Mariachi Divas. I still have those suits. And those suits, we have one that is white with botonadura, one that is black with botonadura, and then we have black suits that have bordado in different colors. So we have red, black with purple, black with blue, black with pink, and then black with gold.
Yeah. What kind of determines which color you wear when you have that variety of embroidery colors?
When I was with Mariachi Divas, actually the owner would ask whatever event we were doing, if we were doing a quinceañera or a wedding, what their theme colors were, and she would always try to stick to that colors. So if we were gonna play at a quinceañera where the theme was purple, we would try to wear that purple suit if we could. And then also depending on the events, because I worked at Disneyland, so when we did, for example, I did something called Festival of Holidays that was during the holiday season, November and December. We would wear red because that was our holiday colors, right?
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Can you tell me a little bit about the traje charro worn specifically by mariachis? Like what style? Can you describe like the style of traje that a mariachi wears as opposed to like, for example, like a style that a charro would wear? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. So a mariachi, I think they wear, it intersects. It depends on what group you're in, what mariachi you're in. For example, I was playing with a mariachi here in Austin called Mariachi Relámpago, and we would actually wear a caporal shirt during the summer because it gets really hot here. So we would wear that, and then with our regular, for me it's a skirt. For the men it's a pants, and then I'm actually wearing my boots today because it was a little cold. So we wear the boots. Some of them are like this, where they're normal boots, and then some other groups have charol boots, and those are shiny. Some people also have some boots that are, I don't know what fabric it is, but it's like a little fuzzy.
Like suede?
Yes, probably suede. And some mariachis will have a full suede traje. But it just depends, I think, on the director's vision. Groups that are bigger and more established, they tend to have more unique suits versus groups that are smaller. Maybe they have people coming in and out of their group, or they have subs that are covering gigs. The groups that are smaller, they tend to have the standard suit, which is the black suit. Or sometimes the core members have a certain suit, and then when there's a sub coming in, then they'll use the black standard.
Does the women's traje ever include a vest?
Yes, and I think that depends also on the director. I personally, I prefer a vest because it tucks everything in, as a woman. And I think it looks better on the body for me. But some directors, they don't like to use vest, and say there's a woman in the group, she depending on the director, they would tell her no vest, right? Everyone's uniformed. The men and the women don't wear vest. And other directors some of them wouldn't care, or some of them would say we're all wearing vests, men and women.
Yeah. Is there a specific hairstyle that's expected of you when you're playing?
It depends on the group. Also, some groups will tell, if you look at, for example, Mariachi Reina de Los Angeles, or that's a female group in LA, they have their hair pulled back in a ponytail, and it's very slick. But if you look at another mariachi, like Mariachi Divas, for Mariachi Divas, when I was there, we got to do our hair, and not exactly how we wanted to. There were certain things that aesthetically we wouldn't do, but we got to do our hair. We could put it down. Obviously, you want to look groomed. So if you're gonna put it down, you're gonna have it straight and combed, or you can have it curly and combed. But you just can't look like you just rolled out of bed because you're performing.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the group. If you have a flower on the side, like some female mariachis wear flowers on the side. Um, that would also go with the hair. And some female mariachis, they have a bow. It's a big bow and it's clipped on. So when you have that type of bow, then that you can't really put it when your hair's down, right? You have to have your hair up. Yeah, and there's some groups where that are so uniformed with their hair where you'll see them where everyone has a trenza on the same side and everyone has the same parted right on the same side. So it just depends on whatever the director's vision is.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you ever wear a sombrero with your traje?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
Yes, and that also depends on the event. Sometimes we get hired for events where whoever's hiring us would ask for a sombrero, and then so we would wear them. Hmm.
Yeah. Is there a certain protocol to when you wear a sombrero when you're playing versus when you would maybe take it off?
Um,
Or
yeah, so groups that have it depends on the event. If you're at a concert setting, then usually you'll play one or two songs and then take it off.
mm-hmm.
Or sometimes so, there's an event where you just wear it the whole time. And if you're the front person as a singer, you get a little bit more liberty. So if you're in the front and you're singing, say everyone else has a sombrero on, but since I'm the solo singer, then I would take it off if I wanted to. Sometimes the sombreros you will see where they're at a setting at a concert, or it doesn't have to be per se a concert, it can also be a private event, and everyone will take it off at the same time. And make them look uniformed. They could put it in front of a stand if there's stands, or place them maybe, it just depends where you're at, right? There's always different settings, but usually the whole group will wear them and take them off at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Um, since you've been playing mariachi for a while now, since you were in middle school, can you talk a little bit about whether or not you've noticed any changes in the style of the traje? Like from the time when you first started playing mariachi to now?
Hmm. I would say I've noticed, from my experience, I've noticed changes, definitely. I've noticed more females wearing pants versus when I started. When I first started, I think Mariachi Divas originally started with pants, or they had pants and a skirt. And that was a really big deal back. The Mariachi Divas has been around for 25 years. So 25 years ago, it was like, whoa, these girls are wearing pants, you know? But now you see a lot of other mariachis or mariachi-like groups. For example, Flor de Toloache, since I don't know how long they've been around, but since they started, they've never worn skirts. They've always worn pants. Well, I don't know about never, but from what I've seen, they've only worn pants. And I've seen groups where there's both male and females in the groups, and everyone wears pants. So that's, to me, one of the biggest differences that I've seen. I've also seen, yeah, I think that's the main difference. And I think with the hair, with the females in the 90s when mariachi reinas first started, a lot of the girls would wear their hair up. That was more of a standard, and from what I've seen throughout the years, it's more females wearing their hair differently, depending on each group, and so more females wearing their hair down.
So when you're wearing a traje and you're performing, what kind of effect does that have on you when you're performing, if you know what I mean? Like, does it change anything about how you feel?
Yes, I would definitely say I feel like I'm an actress when I'm wearing the suit. And obviously, everyone's attention is on you, so that makes me perform um, even at a higher level because I'm not only playing and singing, now I'm acting out the role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you say is the relationship between your identity as a mariachi and the trajecharo? Like, how do those two things kind of intersect to inform a part of your identity?
As a mariachi
And as a mariachi and the trajecharo, like, do you feel like your identity as a mariachi is at all informed by the trajecharo? Like, is it kind of like a part of it, or do they feel, or do those things kind of like stay separate for you?
I would say they're intertwined. Um, it's definitely a part of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have performed without a traje, and it does feel a little different. I
Mm-hmm.
still perform, obviously, to the best of my abilities. It's just different when you don't have your suit on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think it would be the same thing as a like, for example, I don't know if there's an actor acting out their lines versus being in their full um, outfit, right? And actually, yeah, so it does make a difference. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Um, do you know anything about the history of the trajecharo?
Yes, I know a bit of the history. I actually just took a class called Music in Mexico, and we talked a little bit about the history of the traje de charro. So I learned a little bit during that class. I learned about how the how mariachis started looking. Like they did not have the typical traje de charro when they first started, and I learned how the cine the cine mexicano changed that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what mariachis used to wear
Um,
before they started wearing the charo suit?
yeah. From what I saw, they used to wear more just regular clothing. I guess whatever was used back, I don't know, 100 years ago. Um, Sometimes they weren't all uniformed, and then as the mariachis were used in movies, then the movie directors were the ones that actually told them like, hey, let's have you uniformed, and I saw some movies where they were wearing caporal shirts with like regular pants, and then I saw some where they were so it's like you see the progression of how slowly they get into the traje de charro.
Mm-hmm.
And then for females, I actually saw some movies where the females were wearing what a woman would typically wear, with like a big skirt, like Jalisco or whatever, wherever they were from, right? Whatever state they were from, and then yeah.
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 um, do you think it's important for mariachis to know about its history in order to gain like a better understanding of the trajecharo, or is it kind of something that you think mariachis can, like, they can either learn it or not?
I mean, I think it's important to know history,
Mm-hmm.
um, just so that you are aware, and it makes people come up to you, they ask you questions, and it's always nice to know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very relatable. Are you an educator in mariachi at all?
Well, so currently, um, I have taught in a mariachi setting.
Mm-hmm.
I taught a, a long time ago. Let me see, like probably over 10 years ago. I taught in after school programs. I taught mariachi, and I also was an assistant teacher where I taught mariachi. And currently, I am the graduate assistant at Texas State University. So I'm not per se teaching a class, but I do, since I'm a graduate student, I do have influence, right, on the other students, and sometimes I'll run sectionals where I'll be teaching a small group of students. So and I'm also working at Wallace Middle School, where I'm teaching private lessons to mariachi students.
Are you teaching violin or?
I'm teaching violin and voice.
And voice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you teach your students anything about how to wear a traje charro, like when they're performing? Is that part of your curriculum at all?
Not for my private lesson students. We focus more on technique.
Yeah.
But actually, I had a talk with the university students on, when you wear your shirt, make sure it's tucked in. Like you shouldn't, like between your skirt or your pants and your jacket, you shouldn't see your white shirt at all, right? It shouldn't be visible. Like your suit needs to be ironed. It needs to look crisp. Like here, your white, what are they called, cuffs?
Yeah.
Like they should be all the way tucked in. They shouldn't be visible. You shouldn't have any extra earrings. Besides, if you're a female, if the group is wearing certain earrings, that's the only earrings you should have. You shouldn't have anything extra. No extra bracelets, nothing like that. I think that's the way that I was taught. It was the way I was taught was the only accessories you have is if you're married, you can wear your wedding band,
Yeah.
and then whatever earrings you have, and they are actually in the syllabus at our school, and it says that you shouldn't wear glasses when you perform also, right? So
Oh, wow.
yeah, and the professional groups that I've been in, that's the same policy where if you need glasses, you need to put on contacts or just perform blurry.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So if you look at, like, for example, Mariachi Vargas, Mariachi Camperos,
Yeah.
you'll start noticing that none of them have glasses on. Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think draws people to mariachi music?
I think that it incorporates a lot of different elements. Like it incorporates visually, right? Visually, the performance aspect with the traje, and also the the acting aspect. It also incorporates instruments, and it also incorporates singing. It incorporates instruments that are within different families where you have string instruments and you also have that brass instruments. So I think it's just like a mixture of those elements that draws people, but also the songs are lively or they're sad. I think it touches people's emotions. There's songs about love, and there's songs about heartbreak. There's songs about the land, that takes people back to that place. And even if people don't know what people are singing, just by watching them act out the songs, I think that's what really draws people to mariachi music.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like people to know about either mariachi or trajechado that we haven't talked about yet or so far?
Well, one thing that I did not mention was how I think for the female traje de charro, um, before the skirt was standardized long, if you look at, for example, I think her name is Rebecca Gonzalez, and she was in Mariachi Los Camperos, she actually used a short skirt. I don't know how short it was. I think it was down to her knees, if I'm not mistaken. And she had long boots with heels. So I think that's really interesting how that started off, how she had a different version of the traje de charro, right? That you see women use now. And then later on, Laura Sobrino, which was in Mariachi Sol de Mexico, she's the one that had the long skirt. And I actually got to speak to her about that, and she told me that she wanted that long skirt so it could be a little more uniformed with the men, right? They have long pants, right? They don't have shorts. Yeah. So I think that's interesting. Another thing that I have found interesting is how the schools have uniformed the trajes differently, especially here in Texas. Like me moving here, I noticed that the females mariachis here, at least the ones that I've seen, wear the belts, and were versus if you look at female mariachis in California, or in Mexico, for example, Mariachi Femenino Tecalitlan, they're an all female group. None of them wear a belt, right? And also Mariachi Divas, Mariachi Reinas, they don't wear any belts. And then here, I've seen groups, I think one group that I've seen, Mariachi Las Salteñas, they wear belts. So I think that is an interesting fact. And I wonder, and maybe you can look more into that, if the school system, because of the uniformity that you want with schools, right? There's a lot of competitions here, if that's what influenced that. So I think those two things we did not touch base on, but it's just interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting. Yeah. I'm actually curious, just talking about schools and uniforms. So they provide the trajes for you, right?
Yes, my school. Yes.
Yeah. Are these custom made for you, or are these uniforms that they have already that they just kind of give from? Yeah.
They're uniforms that they already have, and then we can take them to get tailored to fit us.
So it's up to you to find the person who's gonna do your alterations for you.
They have, well, at least at my school, they have a certain person that they work with, and any student that wants to get their suit tailored needs to go with that person.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Are these uniforms your school colors, or are they black?
Yes, the uniforms that are my school colors. So the suit that I have with Mariachi Nueva Generación is burgundy and gold.
Okay.
Texas State. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if that's better or worse than burnt orange. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up, or?
Oh, actually, this just came to mind when you were talking about things that I've seen change throughout the years. I've also seen people incorporate different colored shirts. So when I first started, I would see groups mainly have the white collared shirt, and now there's a lot of groups that use either white or black. And I've seen a couple groups they just use different colors. Well, they'll use a blue or a pink. So that's also something that's changed.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Is that specifically for women's trajes, or is that for women and men?
I've seen it in women and men's.
Yeah.
And
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for your time.
no, thank you for having me. Of course, I hope I helped.